Okay, so APIC. APIC, how the APICs are connected on the switches on this fabric. Generally to the leaves, it will only connect you to the leaf. You cannot connect the APIC to the spine, right? So just okay. So APIC has a two link. One is connected to the leaf one, another is connected to the leaf two. Out of two, these two link, one is active and another one is standby. Okay, so whoever you bring the link up first, it means whatever the link you connected first. So if you connected to the link first on the leaf two will become active, another one will become standby. There is no sort of election happen like who will become active, who will become standby. So whatever the link comes up, it will elect as a active, another one will become standby. Okay, so it connect to the leaf switches, can be managed from GUI or a CLI, right? So it means through this your workstation, that could be your laptop or that could be your remote desktop RDP, right? So you are sitting here. This workstation has a out of band connectivity, OOB connectivity to this APIC, right? So you can open a GUI or you can open a CLI on this workstation, right? So it can be managed from GUI and can be managed from CLI. CLI, we will not discuss it, and I would recommend you, no one should go with the CLI because it's very difficult. It's not like a interface 1x3 and switch port mode access. No, it's not like that. It's very difficult, and everyone use the GUI, and most of the time we use a API calls, right? So through that you config the switches, right? So config meaning you want to configure a VPC here, you want to configure a VPC here, you want to connect us one server here, EA6 server here. So you all the things you need to do from the APIC. APIC will push the config towards this leaf, right, via in-band. So right. So another thing is APIC run the Linux operating system. So if you are good in the Linux operating system, I'm telling you, your life will be very easy, and you will love how the Linux thing, right? So it runs a Linux CentOS. So meaning all the Linux command, pwd, change directory, copy, cp, mv, grep, egrep, find, what, right? So all those command top, all those command will be run on this APIC, right? Because it's the Linux CentOS. Okay, so if I would recommend like just parallelly do the learn the Linux as well, but we will explore the CLI part as well of this APIC, and at that time I will tell you some of the commands which are helpful for the Linux, right? Now, what are the APIC functions? Perform configuration and apply them to the switches and interface. So APIC push the configuration to the leaf, I apply them to the switch interface, right? Fabric inventory and monitoring, right? So it meaning same. You want to know the fan speed of all the switches. Either you can go to the each switch via out of band, or you can log into the APIC to this leaf switches, or you just log into this APIC and get that information, right? So obviously a single point which is like log into the APIC and get that information will be always prefer, right? So that APIC also does application monitoring as well. It does app dynamics. If you guys have heard of, there's one company, app dynamics. Have you guys heard of this company name, app dynamics?
Yeah.
Which Cisco acquired. Yes. Yeah. So basically it will tell you on the application level as well, like, so this is the application you are hosting on this ESXi, what are the packets or application data, what are the user liking about that application, on which feature of that app the user are liking most. So all those thing analytics also it does, and it will you can integrate with the APIC basically. Now switch image management, meaning like if you want to upgrade the switch from version X to Y, you don't need to log into the each switch to do it. Just log into this APIC and do it, right? So all those things you will do from the APIC. Now you don't need to other thing is you don't need to upload the image to the each switch. Meaning, so let's suppose X to Y, you want to upgrade a image, right? Now in earlier version, you load the Y image on a this switch boot flash, Y image on this switch boot flash, this one, and all those switches, right? You have to upload it individually, and then you run the command to upgrade the image. Now you don't need to do that. Just upload the image here on the APIC, and APIC will do it for yourself, right? So it's very easy, the upgrade in the ACI compared to the NXOS, right? So it also does a MD5 checksum as well.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Assume we have 200 switches, right? So how do we
Right.
control the image upgrade? Like if I have to just do the spine first and then the leaf, is there a way that we could control the?
Right. So yeah. So APIC upgrade, you do it generally first upgrade the APIC and then upgrade your spine. So you have a 4 spine, right? So just upgrade spine 1 and odd spine. So meaning 1 and 3 at one go, 2 and 4 on the other go, right? Then the leaf switches. So leaf, like if it is a VPC leaf, upgrade 1 pair and second pair on the second time. So let's suppose you have a 200 switches, right? 200 leaf switches. So 100 leaf switches you can upgrade at one time. So you can upgrade like odd number of switches at one time and even switches at second time. Now out of these 100 odd switches, let's suppose some of the switches are very critical for you. Maybe it's connected to the L3 out, or it is connected to L3 out. If I'm saying L3 out, it means let's suppose it's connected to some router here, right? And it is connected to the internet here, and all your traffic is coming from these 2 leaf switches to the internal servers, right? All the user traffic are coming from L3 out to internal switches. Now you don't want to upgrade this L3 out with all the switches because it's very critical leaf for you. So you can create a separate management group and upgrade your L3 out separately. So generally how we do it, first upgrade the spine. So there are 4 spine, upgrade first and third at one time, then upgrade spine 2 and spine 4 on the second time. Now once your spines are upgraded, then your leaf switches, and your leaf switches identify which are the leaf switches are in VPC. So in a data center environment, most of the switches are always in a VPC, and we generally connect into the VPC because of the redundancy or HA, right? So I'll upgrade this leaf switches and this 1, 3rd and 5, right? First 1, 3rd and 5 switches at one time, and 2, 4, 6 switches at a second time, and then my critical leaves, which are my border leaves. And other thing is you can't say okay, my spines are X version and my leaves are Y version. Is it acceptable? It is acceptable for some time, not for the not for like some days, right? Or some weeks. You can't keep your fabric in a different version. So let's suppose in a this topology, let me clear it. Right. So your APIC is an X version, your APIC 2 is an X version. Can I keep my APIC is in a Y version? No, you can't keep it, right? Because they form a one cluster. It form a cluster, and in cluster, all the versions should be same. Now, similar with the switches. Now, switches in meaning, can I keep my switches in a spine in a X version and my leaf in a Y version? Now, you can do it for some days or for as long as you have the maintenance window, right? Where you are expecting a least trouble in the traffic, but it's always recommended to keep your complete fabric in a one universal version, which is like your target version Y, right? So you should not keep your spine and leaf in a different version.
So Deepak, I wanted to understand, like from APIC we have to upgrade it, or from OOB we will upgrade the spines?
From the APIC.
From the APIC only, right? So
Right.
we will select 1 and 3 ones and 2 and 4 ones.
Yes.
Okay.
So on the APIC, right? If I do the first one, will it out of the cluster because I have a Y version now?
Right. Yes. So for that amount of time, your APIC will be in a partially diverse state. Right. Yes.
So once they're remaining true, then we will form the cluster one more time.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deepak, what is Cisco recommendation for APIC? Means we have 20 or 25 leaf switches. So how many APIC is required as per Cisco recommendation?
So yeah, so there's one separate section. Sumit, yeah, right? You asked this question, right? Sachin, okay. Sorry. Sachin, there is one separate session we will discuss definitely. This
okay, one more
detail.
thing.
Okay.
One more thing. Suppose we upgrade the switch images X to Z, not X to Y. So first to upgrade X to Y or directly X to Z.
Okay, so that thing you can check on the Cisco ACI compatibility metrics. If you are on a version X and you want to go to the Z, you need an intermittent version or not. So if it is a recommendation, yes, you should always do the recommendation that X to Y and Y to Z.
Because in some catalyst and other switches, first go to X to Y, then Y to Z.
Right, same thing here. So if it is a recommendation that is the intermittent version is Y, you should always do the intermittent version Y. Right. But for some reason, let's suppose the lab environment, you don't care it, then you can directly jump from X to Z as well. So while upgrading it, it will ask you version compatible check or incompatible. So just check that box, which will bypass any compatibility check, right? So you can directly jump from X to Z. But definitely for the production environment, no one wants to do that. It will be always X to Y, Y to Z.
Yeah, hi Deepak.
Yes, Mohit. Yes.
And how many time will it take to upgrade iOS all session? My device goes to the reboot, and then how many time will it take? Average time?
For the APIC, it takes around 1.5 hours. One APIC.
Okay, one APIC.
Okay. Yeah. And for the switches, it depends on the configuration, but roughly 30 to 35 minutes it will take, because it's not a ISSU upgrade. ISSU meaning is like the switch will not boots up, but here the switch will reboot and then it will upgrade, right? So that's the thing.
Yeah, and what about any leaf switches goes to Roman mode?
So in that case, you need a console and then the same troubleshooting step.
So console will work because console
Yes,
will also out of
so there's the out of band management, and then there will be a console port. So you will ask your IT guy.
Console port is, so yeah. So console port in inbound or outbound?
No, for the console port, there is no inbound outbound. It's just a console port, right? You will have a console cable plug into the switch.
Okay, let's suppose my switch will come up and I will want to change some my leaf switches without APIC. So can I change from console?
No.
Console port also no.
Yes. So console port is in that case because your out of band is also down, right? You are in a loader prompt, or you are in a Roman mode. In a catalyst, we have a Roman mode, right? So in that case, management, your out of band management will also be unreachable in that case, right? So in that, then how you will check the status of switch? You will connect a console cable, console port, right, and then log into the switch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And for the spine, it takes around 40 to 45 minutes. And if it is a modular spine, 9500 series of spine, it can take about 1.5 hours as well, right? So it depends on your network as well, how big your network is.
Deepak, one question in this. Do you have any Cisco documentation on this part, or it's on your basis of your experience, I guess?
You mean the timing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no. You will never find any document from the Cisco on this, right?
Because in the most of the solutioning part, they ask in case of downtime, what will be the downtime?
Right. So you will never find any documentation where it's clear cut mention, okay, 30 to 35 minutes. No, because it depends on the network to network. If your configuration is so huge, then it can take a much more time, and that's why the Cisco will never write down in any document, right? Because sometimes what happens, the switch is boots up, it's a reload, switch will reload. When it reload, the database also convert, the file system also change of the SSD, because each switch has its own SSD, solid state drive. Now, if you are upgrading from X to Y, that SSD partition may be changed from FAT32 to some other, and it can change your upgrade time from 30-35 minutes to 40 to 45 minutes. But that's why Cisco never write down this thing on a document. Okay, so it's based upon my experience, and this is generally a lot of customer ask to the TAC TAC team as
Yeah,
well.
correct. That's what
Right.
actually. Even if you say data center and then a downtime of 1.5 hours, they straight away they're gonna say no. So that's what.
Right. No, so it's not a complete downtime. If it is a VPC pair, other VPC leaf will be remain up.
Okay.
Right. So because you are upgrading this leaf, right? You are upgrading this leaf, so the traffic will go via this leaf for some time, right? So it's not a completely downtime you need.
Just to be safe, so we can take accordingly. So that's what. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, 1 hour you can say yes.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay, so APIC is done. Next is the policy, right? How the policy thing in the ACI works. Now, this is the slide that you will find out in Cisco Live, and this slide I have taken from the Cisco Live, one of the presentation from Cisco Live. Now, what basically this says, like for a mobile, right? For mobile, you have a SIM card. Now, SIM card give a identity to this phone, right? This phone has this number, and it basically start functioning after you insert a SIM inside this mobile. Right now, without a SIM, this mobile does not make any sense. Right? You can't do anything from this mobile until unless if you want to watch some music or anything, but practically you can't do anything. Now, similar thing with this service profile, in case of someone here from the UCS have some experience in the UCS, because I do, and in that there is one service profile concept, right? So in a service profile, it meaning it's a very beautiful concept from the Cisco, and basically from this service profile, this application profile comes, right? Now, what is this thing? Meaning, for a one server, let's suppose this is server A and a server number B. Now, for this server, I will apply a network policy. Network policy meaning, hey, this is your IP address of the server. Let's suppose it's 10.1.1.1. Storage policy meaning you have 20 TB of space from that storage. Compute policy meaning you divide your CPU into and create a 10 VMs from your CPU, right? That's a compute policy. Now, let's suppose for some reason this server B goes down. Now, what you will do? You will insert a new server. You will take out this server from the chassis and insert a new server inside this chassis. Now, if you're inserting a new server, it means then you need to apply the same, configure the network policy, storage policy, and compute policy for this server, right? So what you can do instead of doing this thing, what you can do is just apply the same network policy, same storage policy, same compute policy to this server, right? So server does not have any identity. It means server NIC card. It means I think let me tell you from one example. Now this, or I'll take a screenshot here. Okay, let me connect to the switches, then you will understand more. Okay, so it means this NIC card of this server has a MAC address 000.000.001. Let's suppose that's the MAC address of this NIC adapter, right? And similarly for this one, it's 0.000.002, right? That's the network policy of this server. Now, if this server goes down, right? If this server goes down, you take out this server from this chassis, right? You remove this server from this chassis and insert a new server inside this chassis. Now, tell me one thing, the NIC card, the MAC address would be the same or it would be the different? It would be the different, right? Because each server had its own MAC address, which is burnt in MAC address, BIA, which we called. Now, burnt in MAC address, right? So it means now the policy or the configuration which you have done on this leaf, you have to do it again. Now maybe the MAC address is changed to 3 here and maybe 4 here. So you need to change your MAC ACL if you apply on the leaf, or you need to do a R thing again. You need to basically your network will be converged again. Now the Cisco says that why we cannot attach a network policy here. Now this network policy, I will say here your MAC address for NIC1 is 000.000.000.001. Your MAC address for NIC2 is 000.000.002. Now, if some reason, if this server goes down, right? What I'll do, I'll take this server from the chassis and insert a new server inside this chassis. And I will apply the same network policy to this server. Now, do I need to change the MAC ACL on this leaf? No. Do I need to change anything on this leaf? No. Why? Because the same MAC address will be assigned to this server, which is new server. Now, the server does not have any identity. It means this server, I can put any server here. It's just like I'm applying the network policy, storage policy, and compute policy on this server. Clear? Now the similar thing the Cisco is doing with the ACI with the help of application profile. So it means now I will, from the APIC, I will push some configuration on this leaf. Now let's suppose if this leaf goes down. Earlier we should have the startup configuration somewhere stored in the FTP server or somewhere in the backup or somewhere, you know, it should be present. If the, let's suppose this switch physically goes down. Now you don't need to take care about that, right? Why? Because this policy will be placed on the APIC. Now, if this leaf goes down, just replace this leaf with some other RMA leaf, connect to the spine, and APIC will push the same policy to this leaf with the same name, with the same everything, right? So you don't need to do this configuration again. APIC will take care of that, right? So that's the meaning of this application profile. So application profile or this give the identity to your network. It means each leaf had its own policy. Each leaf have its so the other thing is you can do like cloning the policy, meaning this is your DB leaf, right? The similar, this is your database leaf. It means all the servers which are connected to the leaf 1, leaf 2 have the same set of policy. Meaning the speed negotiation, the spanning tree, the other policy, right? So all are same. Now you can clone, you don't need to configure separately for this leaf. You can clone from the leaf 1 to the leaf 2, right? So if this leaf goes down, you will still have the policy on your APIC, and APIC will push that policy to the leaf, right? So that's the meaning of this application profile, which gives the identity to the network. Now the heart of the ACI use a policy based approach that focus on the application. So meaning is like now you have a web server, right? So web server talk to the application server talk to the database server. Now in that case, I will configure 3 type of policy. One is for web server, one is for app server, another one is for database server, right? So 3 different set of policy. Now those policy will match to the application level as well. Meaning, see what I'm trying to say. Maybe you will guys understand, but if you don't understand it, just let me know. Now let's suppose you have a application, right? So application, some Spotify application. Let's suppose there's a music app. Spotify. Now Spotify application is built with with three components. One is web. On a web server, user comes on the web server. Web server redirect that traffic to the application server. An application server, let's suppose you are requesting some song from the app, it will search the database and give that data to the app, and then it will run on the app, right? So that's how basically the application, every application nowadays is built on a 3-tier architecture, which is web, app, and DB, right? So user log into the web, and then web to the app, and then app to the database. Okay, now this is the application thing. Now in the network, we will also create a 3 type of policy. One is for specifically for the web server, one is specifically for the app server, one is specifically for the database server. Now it will make our life easy. How it will make our life easy? Because now let's suppose the application team comes to you and say, hey, can you open, we want to talk to the database server on port number 123, and rest all the blocks should be blocked. Can you do that? Yes, we can do that, because we have a policy, app policy, and a database policy, which we have created. We know you want to connect to the app, to the database server, and you want only 123 port. What we will do, we will apply a contract, something called contract, and with the help of that contract, I will say allow port number 123. Now this will be very easy if you create your policy with respect to your application, right? So in your data center network, let's suppose you have a 100 of such server, right? So web server, app server, database server. Now you maybe have a NAT server, you maybe have let's suppose a voice server, video server, right? So some kind of server. So in that case, you should create your policy based upon your servers, right? So each server, now in the web server, you can have a 1000 servers. So those 1000 server will have the same type of policy, right? So that's the meaning of this policy. So see, more it will be clear once we do the practical. I know in the theory part, it will be very difficult for me to tell you this thing, but that's how this ACI policy model is. So ACI policy model, basically tenant, VRF, bridge domain, and EPG. Tenant is nothing but the VDC, virtual device context. VRF is VRF. Bridge domain is, it's near about SVI. Endpoint group is the broadcast domain or the private VLAN. So what is that? We will definitely discuss. So I'm just skipping this slide because I don't want to bore you guys with the theory stuff, but just to understand this ACI policy model is just nothing but the configuration. It's a configuration that we will do it, right? So once we do it, then we will definitely discuss this thing again. It's not like I have covered the VRF, I have covered this domain, I have covered the EPG. No, it's just an introduction class where we are discussing about the policy. So the main thing is policy is giving the identity to your network, and how you push the policy. You push the policy from your ACI to the switches, right? Okay, so that's all we have in the policy.